Hey, it's Sammy for another episode of the IdOMUSIC podcast, and our goal and our mission is to empower and educate musicians and artists worldwide. And on today's episode, we sat down with multi-platinum mix engineer Chris King, discussing his start at Patchwerk as an intern, working and learning from Polo Da Don, and sustaining for over 12 years in the business. Hey, it's Sammy for another episode of the IdOMUSIC podcast, and I'm sitting down with Chris King, mix engineer extraordinaire, Patchwerk alum.
Oh yeah, definitely.
How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling great, man. This my home, man. Love being back at Patchwerk every time I get to work here.
Why is that?
Because, I seen this place transform from what it was before, you know what I mean? And then just the people that came through here, the people I learned from, Curtis and Mike still here, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like my extended family, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Everybody says that,
definitely.
After sitting down. It feels like, it always feels like home.
Oh, definitely.
It never changes. So talk about your relationship to Patchwerk. Like, was this your first gig in the engineering space?
Yep, I got out of Full Sail in 2005, and this was right around the time Katrina hit. So it was like, when I got out of Full Sail, it was in August, and I think Katrina hit like a couple of weeks later. Oh, wow. You know what I'm saying? And then I didn't actually have a job or nothing. I was fresh out of school, so I was working at David Buster's. I had just got a job, you know what I'm saying? And they was trying to teach me how to like serve and all that stuff. So I was like, man, not with this. I'm saying, not with this. And then Miles Walker was working here back in the day, and he gave me a call to come in for the interview. You know what I'm saying? So he gave me a tour of the whole place, and like me and him still, you know what I'm saying, talk whenever we do get a chance to, because I know he busy, I'm busy, but it's still like a family thing. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So let's talk about, when you got in here and the things that you were required to do as an intern. So
as an intern, taking out the trash, washing windows, the walls, fixing, you know what I'm saying, the fabric on the walls, just learning from people too, because when I was here, when I first got here, the whole downstairs looked different. They had a mastering room with Kenny, and there was just a dub room, and then they had like a couple like graphic design people in the back or whatnot. So really the interns had the whole downstairs, you know what I'm saying? Like that was our spot. Anybody need anything, they come down there to us. Right. And at the same time, before all this digital stuff happened, we were still printing CDs down there. So we have like a whole duplication area down there.
Yeah, we don't print them no more here, but they still got the CDs on deck.
Oh, for real? That is so funny. Because like Southwest Click, we just a print, like we put out, I would, ex Curtis, at least 100,000 CDs.
Wow.
Definitely.
100,000 CDs?
Printed up here. I would say that. I would
confidently say 100,000.
Yeah, I say
that's a lot of CDs.
Definitely. I'm talking about like I used to have, because we used to do that around the clock here. You know what I'm saying? And that was another way that Curtis helped us, make money. You know what I'm saying? Because like it's being an intern, you know what I'm saying, you're not really getting paid, you know what I'm saying? You learning, you know what I'm saying? So that's your experience, that's your payoff. But at the same time, we was sharing hamburgers next door, you know what I'm saying, from McDonald's. Yeah, so we would like intern sharing hamburgers, like, yo, you need something? I got something. So that's how that family thing, you know what I'm saying, really, you know what I'm saying, I think Curtis really noticed that, and he took initiative to be like, yo, look, y'all want to make some extra money? Here, y'all can do this, and y'all can still learn at the same time. So I was like, man, I commend Curtis for that, you know what I mean? That really helped back in the day.
I'm sure it did. So what were you really, what would you say the biggest takeaway was being an intern, though? Like, obviously it allowed you to become an actual engineer and, like, start building your clientele and those things that are somewhat obvious. But from the minute things like picking up trash or cleaning walls, like, people think, like, okay, what am I gaining from this? What would you say? Because a lot of times I know, I used to work at the front desk, just a brief history. So I feel like I've seen some interns turn engineer, recording, tracking engineer to mix engineers. But then I've also seen people just like, I can't do this shit.
Yeah, I done had a bunch of people who I came up with just not around no more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So what's the difference between someone like that and someone like you who's been able to sustain for over 12 years doing something?
I'm going to tell you, it's the number one thing I think is sacrifice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you got to know what you want. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, no one knows how you're going to get there. You just got to go for it and just stay focused and, you know what I mean, just keep your eye on the ball. And I think that's what I did because I seen it was a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, where you get discouraged, you know what I'm saying, being an intern because you just like, dang, like, what am I doing? You know what I'm saying? It's like all this stuff going on, but you might not be making no money. Or you might be making a little bit of money, but you ain't getting no experience like that. Or you think you are, but then when you get in the real situation, that ain't what it is. You know what I'm saying? So you got to go back to the drawing board. Me, I think being here at Patchwerk, starting out as an intern to an assistant to an actual, you know what I'm saying, tracking engineer, I think just going through those different phases helped me, you know what I'm saying, understand, like, this is what I really want to do. Like, even when I decided to go to Full Sail, and I really didn't know, you know what I'm saying, I was making beats and stuff at that time. I bought my first MPC when I was in high school.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So
your plan wasn't to become...
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about engineering, but I was like, how can I be an asset in the studio? You know what I'm saying? Like, that was my thought process. Like, now I'm 17 years old. Like, how can I be an asset in the studio? And so I ended up, you know, finding out about Full Sail through some friends. And it was older cats, too, you know what I'm saying? That was like, just let me know what was going on. And when I ended up going down there to visit, I was sold, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, the school, when they give you a tour and everything, you go through the whole process, it's like Patchwerk times 10. You know what I'm saying? It's like everywhere you go, and then they got different, you know what I'm saying, like, I guess, curriculums and stuff. So game design, show pro, you got, you know what I'm saying, digital marketing, digital media, all that kind of stuff. So you get the different people, you know what I'm saying, it's not just engineers, you get some of everybody to school.
Right.
So just going for the visit and all that helped me, you know what I'm saying, basically make my choice on what I wanted to do in life. And I stuck with it, you know what I mean?
So schooling is obviously important for somebody who wants to pursue a field in engineering.
I think it is nowadays because everything's moving so fast. Like back in the day before digital stuff came out, like you didn't really have to go to school to learn it if you sacrifice being around it every day. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people when they come to like say when I was at Patchwerk, just another takeaway or whatnot, I used to be here from like 2:00 until
2 p.m.?
Yeah, until the last session ended. So I'd be at 2 p.m. to like 6, 7 o'clock in the next morning.
And ain't much change time because you just got off.
Yeah, I just got off, exactly. So it's like, but being in those situations and just being around, it's just like, it might be 2 weeks, a month, ain't nothing going down. But then boom, you know, Nelly might come in here. Or I remember one time I stayed long and Pimp C was here. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, and that was right when he got out of jail before he passed. So to me, that was like some, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then just to be around this, man, it's amazing. You know what I mean?
That's what's up. And I said that because we were talking off the record that you didn't really get much sleep. Cause
I kind of learned to, I guess, deal with it a little bit.
So, is that, obviously, you know, artists like to work at different times of the day. They like to work long hours.
Yeah.
Talk about just putting in the time aside from, you know, sacrificing your life to pursue something you enjoy, but like also putting in the time, like how that doesn't necessarily change once you get, you know, 12 years under your belt.
Yeah, the only way you're going to change that is with your clientele. But, you know, my clientele right now is everybody work them late hours, long hours. Like, my main client is Polo Da Don.
Yeah.
So,
how did you link up with Polo?
I met Polo here.
Really?
Yep, I was interning, and Steve Fisher was his engineer at the time. And I remember, when Polo, he didn't come before his equipment. So we get all these boxes of, you know what I'm saying, stuff that came from like Delta Dash, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, we got all these huge flight cases. And I'm like, man, what the hell are we supposed to do with all this? So we, I think Jeremy Stevens was working at that time. And he was just showing like, you know, how to hook up everything because he knew how Polo's setup was. And then working with Polo and I say Jazzy really helped me as far as like, you know, knowing about the equipment and just setting everything up. So, like, you know what I mean?
That's dope. And so you still work with him to this day?
Yeah, still work with him to this day. But back then, I was interning. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I used to live in Vegas and L.A., you know what I'm saying, for a while. Just still working as an engineer, you know what I'm saying, recording, mixing. I worked
being here.
Yeah, after here, because after I left here, I worked at 11th Street for a minute, and then I started just freelancing. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when...
That mean you pulling up to the crib? What does that mean when you freelance?
Freelancing, I'm traveling. Like, that's how I ended up going out to Vegas. I was working with another producer who was real close to Tiny, you know what I'm saying, from Escape. And so he was dealing with another cat out in Vegas, MC Hammer's older brother, Louis Burrell. So I got to learn a lot from him, you know what I'm saying? Because he was basically the forefront of the whole Hammer like era.
Wow.
Like he was the person behind that. Like I got to meet Suge Knight, all that. Yeah. I got to kick it with Suge. Like but what's crazy is like he, but besides all the stories and I mean, I didn't try to put that bias, you know what I'm saying, towards meeting him, because I'm meeting him through somebody else and I don't know nothing about what was going on. So it was just like, that was some cool stuff, just to be like, he not what everybody said he was. You know what I'm saying? Like when I met him, I mean, I don't know what it was, but he was cool with me. You know what I'm saying?
People grow.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, I can still see it in him though. I ain't gonna lie. Of course. I can still see it in him, but I mean,
was it difficult for you to just pick up your stuff and go somewhere else? I mean, I know you
at that time it was.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, to tell you the truth, it still is, because I ain't got no kids and nothing, you know what I'm saying? I ain't got nobody tying me down nowhere, so it's just like I can move, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's a big plus for me, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't really have no worries like that, you know what I mean? So
is that something that you want though, to have a family? And
one day, but I mean, we ain't worry about all that right now. We trying to get these records out, you know what I mean? Trying to get this money up.
I feel like you used to take care of a goddamn.
Exactly. Because I don't want to be broken in debt, you know what I'm saying, with kids.
That's
like,
true.
Oh no.
That's true.
I'm glad I made the decisions I made, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause like I got a lot of family and friends, man, who actually going through that right now. And I'm like, man, like I can't speak for y'all, but I made my decision, you know what I'm saying, to make sure I didn't go that path. You know what I mean?
So, I mean, you've worked with the likes of Fergie, Chris Brown, Monica Luda, Sierra. That sounds like a very pivotal part of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Where you were able to work with them. Erica Campbell. So just different genres of music as well.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun working on that gospel too.
Was it?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, oh my God, it's married. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, oh, we about to get it in. But we was working on the Bounce TV show, Saints and Sinners. So when like I didn't know anything about it, because it was still brand new. Like they didn't even air it yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when she came in to do the song that Dietrich Haddon had wrote. Or actually, I think she was featured on the song with him. But when she came in to do it, like, no one knew anything about the show. They just told us about, like, you know what I'm saying, just what it's going to be.
Right.
But then I didn't know she was even going to be on the show. You know what I'm saying? Because when I actually seen it after all the stuff we did, it was like months later, and I actually seen her singing the part of the show. I was like, that was dope.
I had a part of that.
Oh, for real?
No, I'm saying.
Oh, no.
You.
Oh, yeah, no. This is like all the rest of the work, you know what I'm saying? I'm just blessed, you know what I'm saying?
Do you feel like, do you have that sense of gratitude when you do see the work come out?
Yeah, no. I mean, I got the gratitude when people walk in the room.
Yeah.
When people say, that sounds good, like, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I worked hard to get this, you know what I mean?
So you talked about, reading about, what you do and like what you love, that you love all parts of the music creating process.
Yeah.
From obviously production, when you started off producing, to engineering, to mixing, all of that. I am so sorry.
You good.
Child. Ooh. Anyways, but you talk about how you love all parts of the creative process, from production to engineering to mixing. Why is that? What is so special about the creation of the music? And that's kind of what I was asking before, like, to see the result after you put in that type of work. How does that make you feel? Like, why is that important?
I think it's like, I don't know, for me, I guess I would say I would take it back to like when I first started like producing and just catching the love for that. Once I started being able to understand sound, like, I mean, this is like after Full Sail. Full Sail give you like the basics and everything. Like, I really learned a lot here at Patchwerk. You know what I'm saying? As far as like sound, how to manipulate it and make stuff sound, you know what I'm saying? Sort of kind of records. I mean, when I was intern and all that, I didn't really know nothing, you know what I'm saying? Right. I had to learn from the big dogs, you know what I'm saying? Like Mike Wilson definitely taught me a lot.
I'm sure.
And he probably don't even know it, but I was in there watching him like, bruh, how you do that? How you do this? You know what I'm saying? Just and Mike was just so, you know what I'm saying, just giving information. So definitely commend him. You know, he helped me get me where I'm at right now.
That's what's up. So how have the relationships, obviously, like, you know, working with Polo, somebody you met as an intern, but like how have the relationships you've built early on set you up to like give you that foundation for where you are now?
I think it's like really just being yourself, being there for people, you know what I'm saying? Because like when people are at this status like Polo or Monica or whatnot, they already got, you know what I'm saying, so much that they dealing with, you know what I'm saying? So if you taking the initiative to help them do something or maybe take the ease off of any whatever situation that they can trust you with, then that's how you know what I'm saying, get to where you go. You basically your path, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. How would you say like laying down that initial foundation helped you in the long run, like those early years of interning, gaining the experience, etc., working with, I mean, you probably tracked over 100 sessions, thousands of sessions that, you know, eventually led you to doing the things like being able to go to Miami or being able to go to Vegas and LA and like work there for periods of time?
Man, I can't really put my finger on it, you know what I'm saying? It's just something man, this is my passion. It's in my heart. Like, that's what I want to do. You know what I mean?
So, I mean, talk about like working with the next generation of artists. Like, yeah, I know you work with Summerella.
Oh yeah. Summerella, man, that's my girl, man. Like, that's like a little sis right there.
Yeah.
Like, I guess like working with somebody as closely with Summerella, and you know, she like got so much personality. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's never a dull moment working with her. You know what I'm saying? We always have fun. So it's like I feel like they be keeping me young, but they be getting that calling me old. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, look old, man. I'm still young. I'm getting younger, by the way. So it's just, so it's just like, man, like creating with them too, because you know what I'm saying, like a lot of stuff with her, you know what I'm saying, we help, you know, like as far as like her mom, you know what I'm saying, vocal produces her. You know, because really? Her mom used to sing back in the day. She dope too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's dope.
So like it's like a family thing. Like, and I told them, it's crazy you just brought that up too, because the last time we was in the studio, which was like just a couple of days ago, I told them, I was like, man, they bring the whole family, about kids and all, and it's like that's when the magic happened. And I told them, I was like, man, look, every time you come, man, you need to bring them. Because it's just something, like, you stay in the booth and you get stuff done and everybody want to hear it. It's like, it's a vibe,
it's
you know
energy,
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was just like, man, just keep doing this and we going to be good, you know what I'm saying?
So as an engineer, talk to or speak on creating an environment, like welcoming environment for your client. So like, is there a specific, you know, etiquette that you abide by to make sure that your client is comfortable?
Well, definitely on my mind when it comes in is like, make sure the room clean, or if it smell good, you know what I'm saying? Because like I work with Monica, she don't deal with no smoke at all. It don't even matter. It could be on your clothes, whatever. No. She ain't doing it. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing I definitely, you know what I'm saying, take notice of. Then if there's anything that anybody needs, like I make sure I got all the files, you know what I'm saying, for the session, everything's set up right. And basically when they come in, and it's just like making people feel comfortable, you know what I'm saying? Not just feeling like, oh, it's work time, you know what I'm saying? Just be a person, you know what I'm saying? Like, because this ain't no corporate, you know what I'm saying? Work, like, so we get to kick it, you know what I'm saying? It's basically one of the funnest jobs you could do.
Right.
And so it's like that's how we do it every day. I just make sure I'm prepared, you know what I'm saying? And then like, I guess being the engineer, and you know, when the session's going, because it could be like, 20, 30, 40 people in a session, and you know what I'm saying, it's bouncing a bunch of ideas around. Somebody could be in the booth and then other people telling you what to do. So it just really being able to take control of the situation. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, if anything go wrong, it's going to be on you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
if something go missing, it's going to be
something go missing, the mic ain't on. Like, because sometimes people be ready to just go in. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes Monica come in here and she might, you know what I'm saying, just kick it, talk to us, you know what I'm saying, eat, you know what I'm saying? We be talking to the kids or whatnot, and that might go on for 3-4 hours before we even get started.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But sometimes a person like Summerella might come in, she might have already had the song written, and she just like, oh, let me just lay this idea down. So it's like, as soon as she walk in, boom. You know what I'm saying? So it's just different, you know what I mean?
What sorts of traits do you think, I mean, because when you just said that, it made me think like, okay, you have to be a certain level of patient type of person to sit through 3 or 4 hours of them not doing nothing, or, it's just such a
Well,
interesting
I wouldn't
dynamic.
say it's not doing nothing because, like I said, it's like a family thing. So you just casual conversations. We be in here tripping. Like,
Of course.
my sessions be fun. by
I
the
shouldn't
way.
say doing nothing, but
Yeah.
essentially not working. Like you're waiting for
But
the artist to be ready.
But it's a form of working though, because we might just be small talking, but we could be discussing, like, you know what I'm saying, a whole slew of stuff that still deals with music.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So like it be stuff like for instance, we talking about, like, say if I'm in here with Monica and we talking about family or whatnot, she'll get in the booth, and this actually made the album because I was just like on some, like, I be trying to capture everything. So she was in the booth and what was it? I'm trying to think of the situation. She was in the booth and we was in here editing something, me and Blanco, and she got on the phone with her daughter, and so I just started recording it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that I played it back for her, and she was like, "Oh, that's crazy, blah blah blah." So I ended up putting it on the beginning of the intro for the Code Red album.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like her and her daughter having a conversation, and then the song Code Red come on. You know what I'm saying?
That's dope. Yeah. I mean, I really am interested to know what sort of traits you feel like you should have, like personality traits as an engineer, because obviously you have to be some level of some form of a people person.
No, you got to be.
In order to deal with different personalities, from a Monica to, Luda to, just these different personalities.
If you want to build a personal relationship with people, you definitely want to be a people's person. You know what I'm saying? Because, and then you don't want to bump head with people too much, because I done seen that happen before. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like engineers be bumping head. Yeah, I mean, I can't really say I've ever bumped heads with nobody in the studio. You know what I'm saying? Maybe when I was interning.
You learn quickly.
Oh yeah, no, you got to, because I mean, you're gonna see these people coming up and going down. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whether your success is good or you start falling or not, you're gonna see these people again, because the music industry is real small. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of the interns that I'm seeing now coming up, like, I see they starting to do sessions with artists I used to work with. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, keep going, man. That's the only way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just keep your eye on the ball and just keep going.
So you talked about learning a lot from Mike. I wanted to go back to that for Mike Wilson here. What were some of the things that you felt like you learned from Mike? I mean, being that he's obviously seen music change over the course.
From Mike, I think, well, one thing I definitely remember was sound replacing. You know what I'm saying? So like having kicks or something, like somebody producer brought you in a bunch of stuff, and it's just like, man, it don't sound good to you, but you kind of know what it's supposed to sound like from listening to other music, and even just being here with the creative process of everybody doing their stuff at Patchwerk. So when you get a mix, and then it's just like, okay, something need to change here to make it like just sit, you know what I'm saying? Or just take out a bunch of stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you might get a track with like 4 or 5 kicks, you know what I'm saying? Because they done layered them. And it's like, really, you don't need like one.
Right.
So it's just like, you got to just kind of figure out what it is. But I learned a lot of that too, working with Polo, because, man, he a genius behind that.
Yeah.
Like, we would sit there and work on tracks all day, all night. And watching how he actually edit stuff too, you know what I'm saying, taught me a lot, you know what I'm saying, about, okay, because I mean, Polo fight with Pro Tools too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I heard he's very hands-on.
Yeah.
Very, very hands-on.
Yep. So I definitely learned a lot of that, you know what I'm saying, working with him. But with Mike though, Mike sound replacing, and I think like throwing my delays and reverbs and stuff like that, I kind of learned a little bit from that.
That's what's up. So how have you seen the industry change? So like you obviously came up in an era of like a lot of things when the time of music was changing, and some people said that it was going like downhill.
Oh yeah.
Prior to the streaming
that's when
that we see now.
I think that's when like pop music had this little like peak, you know what I'm saying, especially for, you know what I'm saying, black music. It was just like everybody was trying to go pop. And I think right around that era, because growing up from like hardcore hip hop, and then the whole pop little short window that happened into now where it's like straight trap everywhere, is like, to me, I feel like it's kind of fun, and at the same time it's like a little monotonous. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like all the trap music is just saturated, you know what I'm saying, and it's not leaving any room for, I guess, creative artists. You know what I'm saying? So you hear somebody different and it's not on a trap beat or something, it's like, you ready to you ready to hit a turn up because we so used to it now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think just the transition from what's been going on, and I think most of that happened because it's a consumer based world out there now. Like most of the gear that costs so much money to come in here and record, you don't really need all of that no more. You know what I'm saying? So somebody can go spend $500-$600 at Guitar Center or whatnot, get a mic and an interface, and boom, you can record something and put it out. You know what I mean?
Facts.
But at the same time, I mean, it's not gonna be what it might need to be. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, if people gonna listen to it and buy it, well, you're not losing.
Right. Facts. So, I mean, with the changes, has it benefited you as an engineer? Like, do you feel like it has hurt you at all with like any changes?
No, because I mean, I feel like I just move with the times.
Yeah.
Because music is music. You know what I'm saying? I can work on trap beats to country music. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I feel like music is music. You know what I'm saying? It's just something that live in us. And
Is it something you prefer? Like, do you prefer working with certain artists?
Nah, I actually like working with
Different?
Yeah, I like working with different artists.
So you about to get on the country wave? You know the country wave?
Man, you know, I mixed Kane Brown first song.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dope.
Like not the what was it? Last Minute Late Night.
Nice.
Yeah, so
That's what's
that was my first country joint. So
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I just see the resurgence of, and then you being from Memphis and.
Oh yeah, you know,
what I mean?
got that background.
You got a little background in both trap and country.
Yeah,
You
I mean, I
see the
feel like
connection.
I might have been born for this. You know what I'm saying? Because when I found out what my middle name was, I was like, oh, okay.
What you mean? What's your middle name?
Well, my mom named me Cameo. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, after the legendary Larry Blackman. So, so when I figured that out, I was like, okay, and I really want to do music, so all right, I might really run with this.
Right. That's what's up. So are you still doing production? Are you producing too, or are you?
I really just, cause like for the longest doing all the tracking and mixing has really been taking up all most of the time. I just been collecting sounds. You know what I'm saying? Just for a bunch of years, and I think I've always done production, but not just like, you know, let people hear it or whatnot. I just keep it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cause at the same time, I'm not like just a full on producer, so I just kind of just wait until I get different I would say musicians, you know what I'm saying, or different ideas from it, you know what I'm saying, just to see where I want to go. Because I mean, basically, I'm gonna let somebody else probably take like control of it or whatnot, unless I do. But yeah, I ain't really been focused on production like that lately.
Got you. So how did it feel to be Grammy nominated? To get those multi-platinum records, how did those records feel?
Man, it's amazing. You know what I'm saying?
What was the Grammy what did you get nominated for? Which record?
It was for the Chris Brown. Chris Brown. Yep.
Nice.
But
yeah, how did it feel like learning that, like, and just seeing like, oh wow, I was a part of that record?
Man, it's just the best feeling.
Was that why you were in LA?
No, LA was a while ago. That's when I was working with Cali Swag District.
Cali Swag District.
Yeah. That was my first tour. I went on tour with them and Nelly. That was a while ago.
How was touring as an engineer?
Man, amazing. I ain't gonna lie. Cause
that.
I'm gonna tell you, I had a funny story, right? So I was getting off we was in Canada, and I was getting off the tour bus. I had fell asleep in the back, right? Cause that's what the studio was. So I fell asleep in the back, but everybody was like in some restaurant eating. So when I got off the bus, it's a whole line of kids out there like they looking through the window, you know what I'm saying, of the restaurant for Cali Swag. But I'm getting off the bus, so they looking at me like, he part of us. So I just ate this shit up. I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm part of the group too, basically. But I was just
solid autographs out there.
Nah, I ain't signed the autographs, but I did give them the 1-2 finger, like, yeah. I'm with them.
I'm with the band.
With the band, right?
That's dope. So, I mean, that was with Nelly, like that same tour?
Nelly was headlining, and they brought Cali Swag to, like, open it up.
Wow.
They did, like, I think it was called the Blizzard Tour back in 2010, I believe. 2009 or 10.
Have you toured since then?
Nope, I haven't.
Are you ready to get back on the road?
That was my first one. Nah, I ain't really. That's some real road life.
It is.
Like, because you got to eat what's there, you know what I'm saying? Unless you got somebody that's cooking, and where they going to cook it? You know what I mean? So, but that was a while ago, too, so I don't know what the tour life has changed now, you know what I'm saying? But I know, like, that bus life, I don't know if that's for me.
It's different.
Yeah, I don't know if that's for me.
So, talk about the process of engineering. You talked about loving the process. What's the process look like for you?
Well, usually I like if an artist come in and we working off something scratch, I don't never use a template. Like I feel like that kind of hinders the new school engineers because they just need a template to make it already sound like it's supposed to sound like something. Me, I just like to go in dry and, you know what I'm saying, just put maybe like, you know what I'm saying, just the basics, you know what I'm saying, a little bit of reverb, EQ, and compression, and maybe the latest depending on what we doing, and tweak it from there. You know what I'm saying? But I learned actually being here at Patchwerk from a lot of other engineers working fast. So without no template and you just ain't got nothing and you just making it happen. It's basically like painting a picture I look at. You know what I'm saying? Like I start with a blank canvas and I just create. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just let everybody else, you know what I'm saying, just do their thing.
Yeah.
You give me some instruments, producer, go ahead and hit these vocals and I'm gonna just add these effects and we're gonna make this shit work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So do you ever have time to have a life?
A little bit. I mean, I did get lit last night for Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, but it was short lived though, man.
Why?
Short-lived. Man, I was with one of my homeboys. You know, I ain't got no kids, but they got kids, and his son done sliced his whole kneecap open on the air vent. So basically, I went to the hospital with him. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
We was there from like 7 to 11. He had to get 6 stitches.
Sheesh.
So, but what's crazy is, you know what I'm saying, I was the only one drinking, you know what I'm saying? So by the time I got over there, it was already lit a little bit, and then that happened. By the time 10 o'clock happened, I was already sober.
Right,
so
I'm sure.
Like,
Yikes, that sounds disgusting. Okay, so
you rub your knee too?
Yeah, I'm
like,
rubbing my knee.
It was nasty. Like to the white meat too.
Yeah. I'm good off it. So most importantly, in terms of, well, I asked about the balance of your personal and work life because you put in so many hours, just in the studio, outside the studio, just like working towards your craft, which is important, right? But I wonder, like, we have these conversations a lot with engineers about credits. Do you feel like engineers should have credit on, to where you're getting like points, like similar to a producer or?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like with the Music Modernization Act, I wish they would have, you know what I'm saying, put some engineering stuff up in there too, which is kind of along the lines, but they just really was mainly going out to songwriters and stuff.
Right.
So with engineering, it's like you basically got to just, I mean, you got to get your paperwork right. You know what I'm saying? And you got to make sure you speak up and talk to people. You know
what
what
paperwork should you have?
I mean, just as far as like, if you in a session and you don't know where it's going to go and you putting in input, you're not just being an engineer. You know what I'm saying? Like if you like adding vocals or whatnot to, or lyrics or whatnot. Cause I mean, it's a lot of times like, I see engineers and they might want to change a word or something or to make it flow better. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I feel like with all the work that we do, I mean, we should, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's a lot.
Part of it's like you're producing it too, even though you're not the producer, but
exactly. Oh yeah, you editing, you
process.
Yeah, you making it sound right, like all that. So I definitely think like engineers should, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they just got to pass something because there's no like. I mean, I'm not sure if there's a union for us, but I don't think there is.
So how could you help do that for y'all? Because I feel like I had these conversations.
We need to get the big dogs together. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I mean, like the people who established like Leslie and them, like, I mean, I haven't really had that conversation with him about like how would you go about this. So I really don't even know how to answer that question.
It's okay. That means that we just need to have that conversation.
No, we do. No, that's real though.
Because I've had that conversation several times with different engineers, especially on the podcast, and I just wonder, like, and because of my experience here in the studio, like seeing how much y'all work, to know that like at the end of the day, you still gonna just have to keep working because nothing is residual on your end.
Yeah, because I think people look at it like, I mean, I guess maybe some of it is like because they look at it like you getting paid up front. You know what I'm saying? So why should we pay you on the back end?
Right.
But I haven't had that conversation, so I don't know what the actual. But that's just my like, you know what I'm saying, thought.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. Cool. So in the studio, you see a lot. I'm sure while you were working at Patchwerk, you saw a lot.
Oh yeah, Patchwerk was the introduction right here.
But you don't speak on much. Like even when you're talking about meeting Suge or just talk about being an engineer. How you have to navigate in terms of like, you know, what you do and don't say
Oh
inside
yeah,
of these walls?
you know, I learned a long time ago. Sometimes you might just have to bite your tongue. You know what I'm saying? Because and thinking before you speak. Like
Right.
I think that goes a long way because sometimes like especially when you're an engineer, you know what I'm saying, you get close with these people or you just being around them for a while. You know what I'm saying? Just like you in there 10 hours a day with the same person, you know what I'm saying, week in, week out. Like you think you know that person. You know what I'm saying? And you think you got an opinion to give. And sometimes you don't. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But you gotta I think being a people person, you gotta be able to decipher that for yourself, you know what I'm saying? When and when not to speak up, you know what I'm saying? Because being an engineer, like it's almost like you're replaceable. You know what I'm saying? So it's like for you to own in on who you want to work with, you kind of gotta play that part. Like even with Polo, you know what I'm saying? A long time, like I would say even still to this day, you know what I'm saying? Like I just kind of like I'm observe, you know what I'm saying? Because I want to learn, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to just be, you know what I'm saying, so quick to give my opinion and I'm just not paying attention to what's going on.
Right.
And I think that's a lot what's going on to it, especially with the new generation. People so quick to rebuttal and they not really paying attention about what's going on.
Exactly.
And I think I learned that, you know what I'm saying, at a young age, just like, you know what, no, shut the fuck up, sit back, you know what I'm saying, be a fly on the wall, you know what I'm saying, and absorb what you are being shown right now.
Exactly. I agree. And then there was something that you just said that made me think of my next question. I just forgot.
Nah.
Yikes. Oh, that's gonna irritate me. It's okay. Work. How do you think that you've been able to sustain? That's what I was gonna ask. How do you think you've been able to sustain? Because you said that engineers are you're replaceable because they're you know somebody else is graduating from Full Sail tomorrow and like
You
they're
gotta be
about to start
likable and
engineering.
you gotta know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like cause I used to work with the OMG girls back in the day, right? You know,
Really?
they was young, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? But I feel like for me to even be there, you know what I'm saying? Like my boy kind of put me in a position because I was working with him and then meeting Tiny and stuff. See, the producer Sanchez, you know what I'm saying? He basically took me under his wing, you know what I'm saying? And then once you know what I'm saying, I gained his trust, he put me with Tiny and them, you know what I'm saying? So now that I gained her trust, it just kept bouncing around, you know what I'm saying? Then me working with Polo put me with Monica, you know what I'm saying?
But see, that's
So,
what I'm saying with the relationships too, like how important those are for you because
yeah,
word of mouth that got you to your next gig and
exactly.
vice versa.
Yeah, I've never like I guess had to go really find work like that. I mean,
That's amazing.
it's just kind of like just through people I know. You know what I'm saying?
So why would you say you're the right person for the job?
I mean, I know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? That's the best I can say. Like I would say whatever that we working on as far as just because it's still a creative process. I feel like I can get the best, or I can give them what they want at the time. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because sometimes you still have to come back and listen to it, you know, 2 or 3 times, and then maybe add a little bit or change this, change that. But from the initial standpoint, I feel like I got a pretty good sound that I worked on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Who would you say your favorite project was, or what was your favorite project to date to work on?
Work on probably was Monica's Cold Red, because that was the first time I actually worked on an album, a whole album from start to finish.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about from the ideas to writers before Monica was even involved in. Yeah, because there was a lot of songs that Monica recorded that I actually did with the writers.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? So
That's what's up.
yeah.
That's dope. And so you were able to see, like,
See
from
the whole
very
process,
beginning.
yeah, the whole process. I'm talking about up to like when we had the listening party up here. I was like,
Yeah.
like listen to my mixes. This ain't even mixed yet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that was pretty cool.
That's what's up. So what advice would you give to up-and-coming engineers, producers, in a space that they're just starting? Like, when you were just starting, you were at Dave & Buster's, and you were
Yeah,
like, I need a job doing something I actually care about.
man. When you, especially for the up and coming cats, man, I would say, man, just keep your eye on the ball, and man, don't give up. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause it won't. Like once you give up, it's over with. You know what I'm saying? Cause this a hard industry to try to, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, try to keep one foot in, one foot out. You know what I'm saying? Unless you know what I'm saying, you 10 toes down, you know what I'm saying, in this, but you still got to make a living, you know what I'm saying? So, like most people coming out of school and everything, I would definitely say, you know what I'm saying, just shut the hell up and learn. You know what I'm saying? Just learn something, because you coming out of school, you don't really know nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to get the real world experience to understand how to go forward. You know what I'm saying? With all this. Real world experience is going to kill it. Full Sail give you, I would say any school give you the foundation. You know what I'm saying? But once you really get in here with different artists and how they work, and I mean, like, I work with a ton of artists, and they all have different ways they create. You know what I'm saying? From producers to writers to actual singers. Everybody got a different way of working. So that's why I feel like, keep an eye on the ball. Just talk when you need to. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying, like, be like, you know what I'm saying, just a hermit crab or something. Like, no, be yourself. You know what I'm saying? But just understand, man, that it's a lot going on, and you just a part of the process, and you an important part of the process. So you got to be on point no matter what.
Absolutely.
And I think that's best advice I can get to somebody right now. Just be on point.
Dope. So what's next for Chris King? What's next in your world?
Man, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You woke up that production in my head, so I'm like, maybe I should.
You gotta get back to it.
Because it was crazy. I just let somebody hear something the other day. I was like, man, you heard this old beat? It's like 2012. You know what I'm saying? They just like, man, that junk could go right now. So,
sometimes it's good to
I might see if I can do something with Summerella, though. You know what I'm saying? Because we real dope, you know what I'm saying? Tight, you know what I'm saying? And she can... I think because she creative, you know what I'm saying? She can just go in there and just be young with it, you know what I'm saying? Like, she fun. Yeah, she go in there, because, she's a personality. I don't know if you follow on Instagram, but she hilarious to me. Yeah. So we have fun every day. I think that'd be something cool to get into, though. Yeah. But other than that, I mean, I'm trying to mix I done a couple of albums, but I want to do it. So I think my goal is to try to win a Grammy, you know what I'm saying, for mixing.
Let's do it.
You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to follow in the footsteps, you know what I'm saying? My big bro, Leslie Brathwaite, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. And then, Corey and all them, you know what I mean? That's fam, man. So they taught me a lot, man. So, I mean, I'm forever grateful for them guys. You know what I mean?
So I'm happy for you, and I wish you much, much success in the future.
Thank you. I definitely appreciate it.
Yes, the journey is only just beginning. So, definitely get back on some of those old passions that you might have.
Oh, yeah. Nah, you don't woke that little monster up. So
that's what I love to hear. That's what I love to hear. So, tell them where they can get in touch with you so you can win this next Grammy.
Okay, so if you want to get in touch with me, you can find me on Instagram or my email. Instagram is @SneakaBeat. You know what I'm saying? Just Sneak A Beat. I done had that name for years. Want to know how I got it?
Yes.
So back when I first started producing and stuff, right? I used to work at this studio called 431 Music. It was right off of, in the Virginia Highlands. So me and my homeboy, we used to get out of school, ride our bikes to MARTA, get on MARTA, and then ride all from the little fire station all the way to, you know what I'm saying, to Virginia Highlands, just to go to the studio. And this is before I even knew anything about production, engineering, none of this, before I even bought my first piece of equipment, all that. So how we used to learn back then was they were producing, and we would just sit back and just watch them. We was young, we were probably like 15, 16 years old. So when they go out for smoke breaks and shit, right, we'd go in there, change the sequence on the MPC, and start doing our own shit. So when they come back in, they want to hit play, hear what they heard, you know what I'm saying, or they left out to, they hear some shit we made, and they be like, oh, these little niggas in here sneaking beats. So I just kept the name, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, you know what, I'm going to make a business out of it. Because this is when I was in Full Sail and I was learning about, you know what I'm saying, the business and all that stuff. So I was like, you know what, I'll make a business out of it. I ain't know what name to use, so I was like, I'm going to use Sneaker Beat. And it just ran with me, you know what I'm saying? I just kept it.
See, it's all coming full circle. You got to get back into it.
I might have to.
I'm proud of you, yes. Well, as always, thank you so much, Chris, for sitting down with me. Sneaker Beat.
Man, you're incredible. Incredible interview.
Thank you. As always, you guys can find this podcast at IDM Podcast on social media, as well as Sammy Approved on all social media platforms. Thank you, Chris.
Appreciate it.
Sonically superior.